Hey guys, Leland Best from lelandbest.com here. Just wanted to cut a really fast video to show everybody how quick and easy it is to install a WordPress blog out of GoDaddy. Hey, glad to see everybody again. I've just recently moved a lot of my accounts from another host provider over here because all my domains are there, so I figured what the heck, I might as well do some hosting and see how well their servers run. So I'm going to log into my hosting account here real quick, and what I'm going to show you is pretty slick. The domains, the web hosting, the email are all set up right here, so I'm going to manage my web hosting real quick. And let me close the tab I have up here. And once you get in here, it's basically a cPanel configuration like you might find in a lot of other hosts. GoDaddy used to have a different system, and now they've had this cPanel completely tweaked for their own use. So it looks a lot different than what you might find in the back office of HostGator or GVO or anything like that. It's just kind of fresh and lively. It's a little different take on the old cPanel configuration. The icons are bigger, the text is bigger. It's not all crammed down like it used to be. So I kind of like this interface. It works out really well for me, and of course, me being the age I am, my eyes what they are, it's a lot easier to see. But just going to scroll down here past the same old stuff you're used to seeing. The icons are obviously going to be different, but once you get the hang of it, it all comes pretty natural. You'll see it just like any other cPanel software. Other than the fact that they don't have Fantastico or Softaculous for one-button installs here at GoDaddy, they do have one of their own installer or application installers called Installatron, which I've really gotten to like over the last week or so that I've actually been with GoDaddy, because I'd like to maintain track of where my sites are, my backups, quick links to the databases and the file systems, and be able to access the sites and the admin panels as fast as I can. So you can see here I've got several sites running over at GoDaddy that I maintain, and in this case I'm just going to install a quick WordPress site in another directory or subdirectory of my Best at Last setup. So I'm going to head over here to the applications browser, and that's going to take me onto the one button install page, which shows all the applications that Installatron has features for. Now, I haven't installed many of these on my sites, but I have installed an Oxwell, an Elg, WordPress and Joomla sites, so I'm pretty familiar with those. As far as how well the other installers pan out, again, I'm not too keen on some of that stuff, so I try and stay away from letting people know whether they work or not. But I'm just going to do a WordPress install here. So obviously this is a content management package. I'm going to head over to the WordPress one button, and it's just going to give me a quick overview of what current versions they have available on their servers. 4.1 being the latest, we're going to go ahead and install one of those. So I'm going to just push on this install application button. But before I even do this, I'm going to back up one step, because what's really slick about this, and I did this with a lot of the domains that I have listed on my Installatron, is if you pull down this tab, there's an opportunity to migrate your existing WordPress sites or Joomla sites. I've done it with WordPress, Joomla, and Oxwell. Oxwell I had a little bit of difficulty with, primarily because of the fact that it was hidden in a subdomain and not on a main domain on my other server, and I think that was really the only complication. But here I'm going to take the opportunity to show you can import an existing installation from another host with a couple of simple clicks, and as long as your domains are pointing properly to the other site, you can go through a few steps, and I'll just take you over here real quick to show you. It can actually take an existing install from another host, or it can ask you, and this was one of the difficulties, I'm going to point this problem out. You noticed I picked on it and nothing happened. I'm going to pick on it again, and what should happen is this little home should turn into a spinning wheel, and it doesn't. Sometimes with the Google browser, which I've noticed anyway, is you have to pick on it a few times for some odd reason until that wheel starts cranking, and then the Installatron will finish out its task. You can take it from this account. Say you have an install on another directory that you want to move somewhere else to a different domain maybe. You can do it that way, or you can go from a different account entirely and work your way down through the list. It's basically taking your old URL, the IP address, your FTP server information, which it'll need to download all the data off your other site, and where you want to put it on your new host, whether you want to select one that you already have. Obviously, if you don't have it in the selection, you're going to have to create the domain, tag it to your hosting account, and be able to access it through the pull down here. and then you can really just have it create a database for you automatically, which we'll get into in another video. Databases are a little involved, so that's not for the faint of heart when they're doing their first WordPress install. Obviously, WordPress databases, Joomla databases, they can get kind of crazy, but they're really pretty straightforward and simple once you get to know what they're all about. And then you would hit the import button and it would run through the process. It can take a little while on the bigger sites that have been developed over time, but on a simple install it doesn't really take that long at all, and you have it all set up in the back again. But in this case, we're just going to stick with a simple install, so we're not going to go into the transfer. I'm just going to install this application, and I want to install it on a domain that I already have, so I'm just going to select one that I have. But if you want to install it so that when people type your domain name it automatically goes to your WordPress site, like in this case bestatLast.net, if that were typed into the browser window, it would take it to the existing site that I have installed there. So I'm going to install this one under a subdirectory called blog, which would mean the user would have to type bestatLast.net/blog in order to get to this particular installation. I'm going to go down through 4.1, of course, is the preferred version that I want to see. Automatic updates, I normally just do the minor versions and security releases. It's up to you whether you want to do this automatically or manually. Same with any of the plugins. I don't recommend that you have it automatically update plugins, because sometimes people make tweaks to their plugins and they're not thoroughly tested with every theme that's out there, so it can crash your site if you're not careful. I like to make sure that I test a plugin either on a bogus blank site to make sure it's running properly before I install it on a live site. That's always a good safeguard to make sure you don't destroy your blog or take it offline for any given amount of time. So administrator passwords, users, that's basically where you're going to enter what you want to use in the back to log into your dashboard. The administrator password, you can show that here because it automatically generates one for you, or you can generate another one if you didn't like what it came up with at first, or go ahead and type in your own so that you can remember it, write it down, whatever you want to do. This file will be accessible in the back of Installatron, so you can always see what your password was and be able to get it recouped in case you lose it. Of course, the name of the blog would be whatever you're going to make it, and your tagline, obviously the same, and two-factor authentication. This is kind of similar to what Google does, where they have the little Google app where you can have it send you a code so that you have to use the code also with your password to log into something as an administrator. This one's really slick. On GoDaddy they have a system called Clef, which allows you to download a mobile app that will let you scan the screen and it will log you in. That's something I actually haven't even used it yet. I've just been reading about it. It's a free system access that you can utilize through GoDaddy, and I can't wait to try it out. But I'm not usually the type that wants to get any more involved than just typing in a password, though I can see where it would be something really cool for a membership site where you could have users download the app and allow them access so that they wouldn't even have to remember their password. They could just scan the mobile app in there after they generate their Clef code and get into the site from just about anywhere without having, when you save your passwords on your login, if they're on a different computer, obviously that password's not going to be automatically saved at the login page. So that Clef, I can see its purpose and its use. That would be kind of slick. Of course, limiting login attempts, whether you want to take or run the risk of your site getting locked up if somebody comes out there and tries to figure out your password. You can either turn this on or off. I tend to leave it off because a lot of times I'll sit around on some of my sites I have passwords set for and I forget the password, and I want those few extra attempts to see if I can't get in there myself, which I know it's bad practice. I need to learn to get away from that. Multi-site, I don't get into much of that, and we're not going to cover that in this video, so I'm just going to skip over that. And as far as managing the advanced settings, this is basically database management related. If you don't know anything about databases, that's okay. You don't necessarily need to know anything about databases. So I'll go over another video also on how to transfer information from one database to another, especially when you're moving hosting accounts. Email notifications about the installed program, or you can go ahead and choose which notifications you want to see on backup installs, clone installs, updates. new users, such and such. In this case, we're just going to leave the email notifications turned on for the installed application to send them all. Backup notifications, I leave my backups on the web host. That way, if anything does bomb out, it's a much quicker, simpler install of the backup. Some people like to put them on another host that they might have, or save them directly to their hard drive. I recommend leaving them out there where the host is. It just seems to make perfect sense that at least that way, if you totally destroy your site, you can simply call them on the phone and say, hey, GoDaddy, I've got a problem. I have a backup on the system. Could you please restore the latest version? And also how often you want to maintain the backups. The automatic backups can be as many as quite a few, one a day for 7 days. We have you 7 daily. That's kind of crazy unless you're generating a ton of content. In this case, I don't normally maintain automatic backups. I will let it do it the first time, and then I'll go back through and shut off the automatic backup so that at least I have my current one, and then when I feel I've added enough content, I'll go back and turn it back on again. So that's pretty much it. Click the install button. It's going to go through the little grinding wheel there while it loads up WordPress, and it's going to take you back into the install manager of Installatron, and you're going to see it go ahead and copy those files up and load them up. And now that it has it up, we should be good to go. And I can go ahead and pick right onto the blog site to see where it's at. Alright, so here we are. We have a fully installed WordPress site. And just to take a quick look at the dashboard, we'll go back here and see what we've got. Basically your standard setup like any other. One thing that we had a little minor malfunction there. The stop button was hit accidentally while I was recording, so there's a little break in the video here, but I don't think we lost anything. I just wanted to cover an approach on the theme section real quick before we got any further. Normally WordPress installs with 3 default themes, which are the 2013, 2014, and 2015, which are basic run-of-the-mill WordPress themes. I usually go out right away and I add a new theme through WordPress.org, where a lot of the developers put these out here for your use free of charge. So you'll see you'll have a huge selection of themes you can choose from. One of my favorites, which is one I've already preloaded during the little break there, is the Mantra theme. And we're going to do a live preview of this theme just to see what it looks like. This is one that I actually use on my LulinBest.com site. This one already has the header background in the back, so at this point you can go ahead and enter the site title, which the title and tagline will already be entered from when you did the WordPress install. You can make a basic color selection to whatever you'd like, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz until you decide to get a little more extreme. The header, of course, I can either hide it, or I can go ahead and add a new image, and if I do add a new image, I can just go ahead and select one out of the media files, or I can upload one from my disk. I'm just going to go ahead and grab one real quick, just as an example. I'll grab something out of the ordinary here. This is just a file. I'm not even sure what's in this file. I'm just going to load it up. Select that, and I can crop it to whatever it's going to be. And it's going to reduce that little banner, because this one has a small banner at the top of the page, rather than some which have rather large ones. And once it gets done cropping that, it'll throw it in behind my header if I decide to show it. And from there we can do a background image, which would be the screen behind the blog itself, and we can get into some widget development if we'd like. We can have our primary widget area, which usually has the search, the recent posts, comments, archives, etc. I had already entered a calendar in here. All you need to do is go over to add a widget. You can pick on the calendar selection, you can give it a title, or you can just close that and slide the calendar up wherever you'd like. If any of these are ones you decide you don't want to use, you can just go back and remove them. If you do happen to have an affiliate banner or block graphic that you want to throw into the footer area, you can add a widget this way and head down to the text box, click on that, and then enter your default HTML code in here so that your graphic shows up at the bottom of your page. Close that, and you can move on to other widget areas if you'd like and add those as you go. So what we need to do is save and activate that theme. And now if we want to go back and preview our site, we'll be able to see exactly what we just put together. So that's really about it for now. I'm going to cut some more videos to get a little more in-depth with the WordPress setup and probably installing plugins, etc. But just wanted to give a quick run through on how you can quickly install a WordPress site in the back end of GoDaddy through Installation. So I hope this video has been of some help to you folks out there on GoDaddy, and if you did like the video, please like and comment below and share it with your friends if it's going to help them out at all. Again, Leland over at lelandbest.com. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.